Day of 2026, and as you can see, hardly much of changes. Yeah, see, nothing really. I'll throw that over there. I know Zoom kind of sucks with these devices, but you can still see over there. There's that one wall, and then where the entry was. And I know Zoom sucks on these, but typical crap. But there it is. No different. It's August of last year, same thing. Except there's piles of dirt were still here. And I got a thing right there in the middle. Whatever that thing is there. But it's all just equipment though. Nice progress. Yeah, this is over where well, of course it's a Harbor Seafoods Super Buffet. Well, I don't know why it's got to be Super Buffet, but anyways, yeah, that's where the Peter Piper used to be. Over by the library. So you see, nothing's changed. These big piles of dirt, they just moved around. Alright, it's typical. It's interesting that was the parking lot though for the mall. Where those piles of dirt are at. Interesting. Yep, so it doesn't look like it was even a mall there. Of course here it doesn't. Really crazy. Yeah, there's something interesting. They just put up very recently. I noticed that because I was up here not that long ago. I just didn't record. But they put a digital, nice, of course it's going to flash in this and strobe because of it being the phone. But yeah, they put a nice little digital sign at the library. So, and then of course the land behind it still cracks. That's been like that for, it's been like that for decades. So, and all the lumber's over there, which I think is kind of funny because that's like been sitting there for years and years and years. As far as I know, I think it's like 15 years this has been like this, something like that. Maybe a little bit longer. All that wood's been sitting there exposed. Like, yeah, it's going to be good lumber to use. Anyways, so yeah, you go around to that part by the Sears and all that. So interesting though. Yeah, I could go up that sidewalk now, but it really wouldn't be worth it because there wouldn't be anything up there except for piles of the dirt. Yeah, essentially now this is that one back entry off of 28th. And her side's gone now, of course. Yeah. Just interesting how this is the parking lot and an entry up to the back of the mall. Sears here. Do the ride by. I don't want to say drive by because I'm not driving, I'm riding. Do the ride by. It's weird seeing all that mounds of dirt. There's them all there. Very interesting. So, of course, you're going to get the same view you've been getting through all the videos. The same thing. Because this whole game really changed. So, sorry about the wind. The wind noise. So interesting how that was the entryway. This was an entryway. I got some debris up here to put in the middle. It's weird. We're going to clean that up, but yep, so where that one back entry was. So as you can see, there's nothing now. Even little parts of the building are removed, so there's nothing runs the mall. I thought they would have this thing covered up by now, but of course, this typical crap. I just think it's interesting. That was a parking lot right here, and the road coming through. I just think it's interesting. That was all mall right in there. Yep, that's where the mall is. Interesting. This is all parking lot. That's the little remnants over there that's left. There's not much left, but there's little bits and pieces left of the mall. I noticed. It's outside stuff, I noticed. But that is interesting, though. That was the old Sears there, the old JCPenney there, and then there was a mall in between. All the memories there. Yeah. So I think that is interesting how this part right here was the entry from the mall to the Sears, or vice versa, Sears to the mall, both levels. And of course over here is the old JCPenney's mall in between. So yeah, so the remnants I'm talking about is this right here. Just a little bit, that staircase right there. That's one of the few things that's pretty much left, besides the circle. It's a brick concrete type plant thing up here, and the ashtray. So yeah, so this staircase right here is what's left. So let me move up. Yeah, because this is one of the things that was original of the mall. I mean, it might have been added later, but I'm saying this is one of the things that was part of the mall going around it. The staircase right here. So interesting that is long gone now. Of course, the mall is long gone. But interesting that this is what's one of the remnants left of the mall. This little staircase. There's fire hydrant down there. But yeah. Yep, it's the old parking lot. There's the main entry right there. There's where the mall is. There's the entryway right here. Main entryway. Still see the walk there. Of course, the movie theater and all that was there. Yep. Yep, so you can still see the walkway in front right here. That's interesting. So the walk in the front. Of course, no more parking lot stuff. But it was interesting though. Very interesting. That was the walkway in front of the mall. The ramp going up into the front. It was right about there is where the main entry was. The doors were. That's where all that wall was with all the equipment. Compactor, all that. Interesting. Yeah, this is crazy that there was a mall here one time. This was the entryway. I think it's interesting that was the sidewalk and everything went up to it. There's a movie theater and then a restaurant, and then the entryway. That's just interesting. Yeah. So this little thing here, ashtray and a round thing, that's what's left. And then, of course, the stairs on the other part. And a tree stump up there. I don't know if the wall to the right there was part of the original deal. I don't remember. I don't think it was. But this over here was the road going back. And that's where they had the compactor and all that stuff. It's right on the other side of that fence. I don't know if you can see it through that mesh there. But that's where that little part went back. Where the compactor and everything was. Interesting. Yeah. There's how this is a JCPenney. At least they kept the elevator. That was kind of cool though. Lights up at night. It's cool. At least they kept the elevator. That's the only remnants of the JCPenney there. It's Cube Smart storage now. Yeah. Parking lot, or the old parking lot. You had all the electrical plumbing and stuff up here. Yeah, because they had the gas lines and everything up in here. That's where that drain is. Cover there. So usually how this was the parking lot. Interesting. So go across the street there. Yeah, interesting. Bunch of plants already grown in there. Yeah, and then the bus terminal was down there. Yep, right over about there. Yeah, take a shot from across the street. Yeah, if you notice, there was a lot of trees in this area before. Because remember when I was recording earlier, it was blocked by a lot of this stuff. Now it's just that tree's there. They got rid of a lot of this stuff here. It's kind of like down there. Right down in there between all that fencing, there was a handful of trees. They literally ripped them up. So, which is weird they would do that. But we'll see how this goes. I don't know how good it's going to be, but here, he said it would literally rip them up. Just literally tore them up. I don't understand. That's kind of weird. When they cut them down, why they just rip them up. It makes no sense. And then see on this side, same thing. Where there was all these trees along here, and kind of like there's like maybe 10 or 12 trees. No. This is where the main entrance was in the movie theater. I think there's other plants already growing over here. Yeah, you think it'd be developed if they had an idea what they were going to do, but. This is kind of interesting. What's on this sign right here? Right there. I think it's kind of interesting. Why that would be on a sign, I don't know. Yeah, like we need another church in this city. Yeah, this plaza here used to have all kinds of stuff in it. Like, I think it was some kind of, I don't remember. I don't know, down there was like a restaurant bar. This thing here. I can't remember offhand. I think it was almost like a PetSmart type thing. Peter Piper's been here, of course, for a long time. Yeah, it's funny. It's Old Navy over there. There's a buffet down there. It's all gone. Best Buy was over here. Of course, they moved to Thunderbird. So now the sign's still up. Get a shot, more shot here with the sign. Yeah, where the mall was. So I put that one shot like there, up right there. Where's the entry to the mall? Yeah, so that's interesting. I don't know what that shaky was. Here we go again. I just think it was interesting that this was the entry to the mall. So not long ago, there was a building to the left of the signage. Of course, that was in earlier videos. Where it all started, where all the demolition started, is that one back entryway. Where the Dillards was. You see there's nothing left of the Dillards now. Not even the stairs or any of that. Of course, a little repeat of the videos, but yep, that back wall is the ice skate and roller skating ring. That one wall right there, with next to the pile of dirt there on the left, that's where the main entry was, the food court and all that. I think it's kind of interesting. And then the stairs from the movie theater. Now, I'm not sure if that section to the right of the stairs and the left of that little wall there, where that lighter weight is, I'm not sure if that was the movie theater or if that was part of the ice skating roller skating ring. Or is that kind of stayed together because it was an ice skating ring and then became a roller skating ring not so long after that. That arcade there, and then they closed that down and it just was an arcade. So, interesting. Oh yeah, they made a little hill to come down through there. So, yep. So there it is. Yep. So interesting that this is the road right there. Was. That's just all dirt now. You can still see little remnants of it, of the road right here. Still a little tiny bit of remnants of that road yet. That was the road that went by the one back entryway here. Yep. So here's the last point of recording. Yeah, so that's interesting that there's no more remnants of Dillard's. And of course, you got what was the parking lot. This looks like a dirt lot now. Yep. There's that one entryway back there. Very interesting. Yeah, so interesting as this is all long gone. And of course, there will be videos posted, just not as frequent on the what's going to happen next, because you can see the last video I did was September of last year, and here we're February. It's actually Valentine's Day. So see you again next time. I hope you all have a good day, good Valentine's Day. See you again next time. Bye bye for now.